Amp Media Production presents Gypsy Soul, your one-stop shop for letting out your inner gypsy. Join Denise Marsh as she brings on a variety of guests to share their artistic vision with the world.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Gypsy Soul. I'm Denise Marsh and I'm your host, and I'm so happy to be with you guys today. Last time I had my anniversary show, and I know a lot of you watched that, and I got some great comments, and I just wanted to say thank you again for being followers and sharing the show and being part of my Gypsy Soul. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope that you're thriving and not just surviving. I know it's been a long week. It's pretty hot in South Florida, so we're all kind of tired here. We even have someone taking a nap on the couch back here. That's why I'm up in this stage. So I thought I wanted to tell you that because I'm in a different spot today. So last time we talked about people who lift us up, and I'm lucky that I actually have that with my audience. I have that with you guys, my viewers, and I have that with the people I work with here. And I'll tell you something, the 30 minutes that I'm here doing my show, it gets me through the whole rest of my week. It puts me in my happy place. It makes me comfortable, and it makes me feel very special. So I have that to lift me up, and I'm lucky I have that twice a month. Even if it's just for 30 minutes. It's the best 30 minutes I have all week. So again, thank you for that. So I wanted to share a new poem with you. It's from book 3, which is be coming out hopefully in November. And it's about being lifted up by other people. And I call it Treasure Island because I heard someone talking about it. I was just listening to a conversation that people were having, and they said, it's like my treasure island. And you know me, of course, listening to other people talking and getting ideas and inspiration, I wrote it down. And then I did a poem around it. So I'd like to share it with you. It relates to having a dream, struggling a little bit, and then persevering, because you know that people have your back, people are helping you, and you have support. So I'd like to share that with you. Let me just get it. I wanted to show you also that when I do my book, I have something called a vision board. I have this big board, and I actually type out all of my poems, and I put it out like in an outline, the old-fashioned way, and I see what goes in what chapter. It's actually a fun process. So you get to see a little smidget of what's going on. So it's called Treasure Island. The push and pull sometimes create a battle, cumbersome, confusing, torrential, a riptide, lost in anxiety and enveloped by fear. In the distance, I can hear you scream, swim sideways. This is not your time. And my body listens, your voice soothing, reassuring. You are my brave commander, pulling me away from the volatile sea to the treasure island that was meant for me. I get goosebumps when I read that. It's actually, I dedicated to a very special person that's a good friend of mine that's been helping me a lot. She actually made me this bracelet as a present, and it actually, in each little circle, it says Gypsy Soul. Really, really beautiful and really special. But I think this place is my treasure island too. Because when I come here, it makes me feel safe and special and happy. So I'm going to rename this place my treasure island as well, this studio. So while we're on the subject of people giving us inspiration, I wanted to talk a little bit about my guest. I met my guest through a friend of a friend at a mixer with Krista Martinelli, who is the owner of AroundWellington.com, an online publication I write for. I do the Cultural Corner column. And I met her at the mixer, and we spoke, and we talked about having her on my show. So on the subject of persevering and getting help for a better future, my amazing virtual guest, Joana Donovan, owner of Propel Resume Services, is here to share some of her magic with you, so you can find your own treasure island or spruce up your current resume situation, whichever comes first. So we're going to go to a short commercial break, and then you'll meet the phenomenal Joana Donovan. Hang tight, don't go anywhere. See you in a few minutes.
Welcome to the Chocolate Spectrum, nestled in the heart of Jupiter, Florida, where every sweet indulgence tells a story of hope. Founded by Valerie Herskowitz for her son Blake, who is on the autism spectrum, the family-owned Artisan Chocolate Company has been spreading joy since 2013. Here, individuals with autism and other developmental disabilities are empowered with training and employment opportunities, which not only give them purpose but also teach valuable skills. Support a greater cause with your exquisite treat by shopping in-store or online at shop.thechocolatespectrum.com, with shipping nationwide all year round, or call at 561-277-9886. The Chocolate Spectrum, where every bite makes a difference.
Are you tired of long lines and fitting a car detail into your busy schedule? Magical Touch Mobile Detailing will come to your home or office. Small cars, big cars, and even trucks, no job is too big. We specialize in ceramic coating, removing tough stains and dog hair, and will travel as far as Boca and Jupiter. Visit us at www.magicaltouchmobiledetailing.com or call for a free estimate at 561-255-8968 and ask for Romain.
So, Joana Donovan will be joining us shortly to discuss her business, Propel Resume Services, excuse me. And we'll get some insight. Hi, Joana. Maybe, is your audio
Hi,
working?
how are you today?
Hi. I know we have a little bit of a lag, but that's okay.
Hey, thanks.
So, can you hear me okay, Joana?
I can hear you. I just can't see you.
You can't see me.
There I can. Okay.
Okay.
Caught up.
All right. So, Joana, you're the owner of Propel Resume Service. What inspired you to start your own resume business?
It's a great question. I think creativity was the biggest part of getting into this, getting to meet people and helping them create sort of their treasure island. It was a great intro that you had there
Thank you.
with your poem. And I think it's really important to help be an advocate for people when they're trying to figure out who they are, not only professionally, personally, but they are professionally.
And sometimes we don't know actually who we are until we start putting together the resume, which is even more interesting that you said that. So,
Yes.
I've spoken to different people and they've said to me, oh, you don't need to do that for your resume. You can go through AI or, I could give you a template. So how is it different working with you and your company rather than AI, a template, or some other, forum? What are the advantages of working with you and your company?
Of course, that is a big question, and there is a lot of information out on the World Wide Web about it. And the biggest part is that personal interaction. AI can only do so much for you. It really can't ask you the questions about what you've done in your personal journey through your career. It doesn't have that basic knowledge of what you're going to be doing. And so having the dialogue to be able to write for people effectively is what I bring to the table. I mean, you can only put so much into AI, it's still a learning machine. But when you're working with people, and those of us who are a little advanced in age know that that one-on-one is super important. You want to be able to connect with people and you want to be able to understand their history, what they bring to the table, and how is it that they're going to help others do business better. And you can't do that just talking to a computer. Maybe down the road that might be a thing, but right now it's the personal touch, really, what it comes down to. And templates, in my opinion, are not anyone's friend. I think if anyone is familiar with Canva, there are a lot of phenomenal templates to look at and use. But what happens is we're dealing with programs called applicant tracking systems, ATS, and you might have read about them online. And what happens is hiring managers, recruiters, talent scouts, they're using it because since at least COVID, we've had thousands of people looking for work. And it's impossible sometimes, if the job is quite popular, for them to be able to look at every one of them. So they set up these AI programs to be able to scan and get the most qualified folks. Well, the only way that you're going to be able to get through some of those programs, because they're a bit subjective, is to work with someone in person who can understand and help you build that credibility, build those keywords, build that professional story that's going to get you over the goal line.
Well, that's a great answer. But yet, I mean, that makes sense. We all need the personal touch, and we've become so tech crazy that we forgot how to do that. That's the interesting thing. We're communicating, but we're really not. So, so how does the process start when someone contacts you? Can you walk me through how it starts, what you do?
Of course. For me personally, I like to have a free strategy session. I think that it helps people get comfortable asking questions without being tethered to a fee or an engagement. It allows us to get to know each other, to make sure that we're a good fit, because you never want to work with someone who you just don't mesh with or who just doesn't understand. And some people stay with me and some people don't. It really depends on what the goal is for the client. But once we get through that initial conversation, we talk about the challenges and the pain points that they have. And when they're ready, we basically figure out what programs are going to help them best, whether we're working on just their resume or if they need help with their LinkedIn or interview prep. It could be done all together, it could be independent, but essentially the conversation has to be homegrown, meaning we really need to look under the hood, figure out what that person is an expert at. What do they want an employer to know about them? And so we do a one-on-one, either live like we're doing now on this podcast, or we do it via email. It's a combination of both most times. And we really start to talk about what the document should look like, if it actually speaks and looks like them, if they can speak confidently to it when they're in an interview. And those are important elements that obviously you can't do with AI, but it gives the candidates a better understanding of themselves, which many of them don't come to me knowing what they really, really want or what's going to motivate them to get out of bed. And so we work on these engagements and sometimes have to build in order to do the optimization of their LinkedIn or for interview prep. So that way, when they get to the job interviews, it's going to be as if they were doing it their whole life, being able to talk about themselves, because imposter syndrome is key to a lot of people not being able to speak when they're in interviews. But this whole process is a great foundation.
So it sounds like what you're saying is it's a process. It's not just like, okay, I'm going to show you how to do a resume. This is what you do, what you put on it, and you listen to them. It's more like, okay, what exactly are you looking for? Because I mean, personal experience and even friends saying that sometimes we're not sure exactly what we want, And I know that, you have said, well, then, we need to get back to each other maybe in a month or two. And, not necessarily speaking from my own experience, but other people need to see what types of jobs they're looking for. So it sounds like you scaffold it, like a teacher scaffolds it. Like you get to this point by this time. And then if you have, then let's talk and then let's go further. You're kind of like holding someone's hand. So they're getting the personal touch. They're not going to have that imposter syndrome later on that you talk about, hopefully not. So you do more than just the resume. You're giving a whole plethora, I always say that word wrong, of services, correct? Like you're doing interviewing as well, interviewing services, interviewing, maybe coaching. You do coaching as well?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's part of the entire process because no, and listen, there are a lot of companies, they're big box, they're on the web, everybody sees them. They charge a very small fee and they pump out resumes very quickly. In my opinion, they're not really your partner. I'm your partner. I'm the person that you come to when you wake up in the middle, not that you call me there in the middle of the night, of course, but that you
I
think
might.
about a question or something. And sometimes your spouse can't help you with that, or a coworker can't help you with that. And so you need somebody to be your partner. And that's kind of what I bring to the table. Without having somebody working with you in partnership to grow, like you said, this pillar, I call them like building blocks of their segments, really, of information that we are cultivating or curating, so that the person, when they're ready for those interviews, is basically prepared. They know exactly what they need to say. If someone asks them a really strong question, like, what's your greatest strength or what's your greatest weakness? They know. They already have gone through the questions with me. They've understood why they need to do it. And I wouldn't want to say that I'm there to handhold them, although I'm there as their partner. I want them to come up with the information organically, because I can spoon feed you anything you like. But if you can't speak clearly about it once you're by yourself,
You have to
I've
be
not done my job.
natural. Sure. It has to sound
Exactly. It
natural.
has to be
Yeah.
super organic. Because otherwise, then people think, well, if they're not doing it truthfully now, what happens when they get the job? Are they really
Right.
going to be relying on someone else?
You're putting on a facade from the beginning, and that's not good either. Do you
Exactly.
do mock interviews with people?
I do. What I set them up for is a two-part process. Some people are really good. Like, if you're working with sales folks, they know themselves, they know how to present their stats, and so they may not need as much. But there are other people who need to build and they need to grow. And so what we do is we come up with a branding statement, something that's going to be sort of like an elevator pitch for the audience. If you've never really understood like your personal branding statement, it's your pitch. And then you basically will go from there in terms of delivering information in a concise manner, and we will practice. We'll take certain questions, we'll look at the job description and figure out what is it that they need to focus on, what kind of responses they have to be prepared for, because you don't want to be sort of spellbound when you get there. You want to be prepared. There's nothing worse, honestly, than having to dig and be like, oh, give me a minute, let me think about it. You never want to be that person. So my whole program is to do some mocks. I'm
Because
the
they're watching
interviewer.
you, everything you do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll come up with, and it's funny because I will be easy enough to talk, off the cuff, and they're like, "Oh my God, could you repeat that?" And I'm like, "I really can't." It just comes so naturally for me to talk to people after I've known them, that it takes a little bit to get them to do it for themselves, and we have to practice. There's no other way about it.
It's so interesting. It's so personal at the same time. So what challenges have you faced with this business?
I would have to say it's not necessarily with the business, it's with folks individually. I think for the most part, people come to me knowing who they are or what they want to be. It's the people who don't know what they want to be when they grow up that have the hardest time seeing themselves outside the box. And I think it's the folks that have been possibly in a job for 20, 25 years
Uh-huh.
who don't know themselves as any other person. I'll take mortgage professionals as an
Yeah.
example.
Yeah.
Mortgage professionals, all they see themselves as, I come to work, I answer the phone, I push some papers around, and I go home. They don't realize everything that they bring to the table. They don't realize their negotiation skills. They don't realize what great communicators they are, the problem solving they have to do to get a close on a deal. And they discount themselves very, very heavily. So think the biggest challenge is helping them to break out of this mold or this perception of themselves, to be able to see them in a completely enriched life that they can actually transfer to something else that may have nothing to do with mortgages in the first place. And that goes for every industry.
That's how people come up with the aha moments. Like when I was talking to you, because, just to redo my resume, and I said, sometimes I analyze data, and you said, okay, well, that's research. You have names to put on things that I don't want to say make people sound better because that sounds very trite, but you can accentuate is the word. It could accentuate the skills that they already have and make them more marketable for something else or something similar to what they have. So you do a lot. You have a big job yourself to do.
It is a lot, but you know what? It's rewarding at the end for both myself and for the candidate.
So what are the exact services that you offer?
So what I do is, first of all, I can work with anyone who's coming out of college to someone who's from stay at home, transitioning back in, someone who's been a seasoned professional. So I can handle just about any type of stage of career. And so we work on your resume and cover letter. If you have a LinkedIn page, as most people do, we work on that. Is a combination of a live and a supplementary guide that I provide with networking capabilities. And then I also offer doing interview prep. Uh, most recently, I got into doing disc assessments because sometimes knowing what type of people you can work with helps you look at the cultures that you want to be a part of. Looking at companies as opposed to actual job descriptions helps to open up the eyes of the folks that are going through my programs.
Plus, they
And
ask you
I also,
questions like that, right? They say
yeah,
sometimes on interviews, I know my sister and other people have said, they say to you, so, what do you know about the company? Or what do you think, what's some advice that you give us? There's always those questions that they throw in there, especially lately.
yeah, well, they have to because, it's been the norm for eons that people are on unemployment and they have to supply information about how much work they've been looking for. And, the recruiters are onto you. They know that you're looking to just supplement and be able to say that I need to keep collecting that money, keep having unemployment send you money. But at the end of the day, if you've done your research and you've invested and you got to see under the hood what companies do for their employees and for their customers, I think it gives you a more profound approach to working with that company. You feel more invested, and the company wants to feel that too. So yes, part of that is making sure they do their research on the companies because you have to customize your documents for that application process anyway. So it just carries on very naturally into any kind of interview prep. And once people actually land jobs, I have people come to me for bios for their website. I work on that. And I also help them with a traditional bio or some sort of like a one sheeter, I would call it, where if you're going to networking events, I would provide that. It would be a synopsis of what you had on your resume so that it's not as lengthy, but it kind of gives everybody a snapshot of who you are if you're really trying to network in person.
And Joanna, if someone was interested and they wanted to go through this process, would it be in person or it would all be virtual? Because I know we spoke virtually.
Sure, it's virtual. I think it makes people more comfortable. They can be in their own home settings. And we do everything over Google Meet, which is super easy. Everyone has access to it. And I think the one-on-one and the videos make it more personal. So it's just like we're sitting together in your living room. And there's my QR code.
There you go. Great picture.
Thank you.
And so it seems like it would be very easy to get in contact with you. It's so if people call you, do you wait a while to call them back? Do you ask them their schedule? How does that work? Like, how do you get in touch with people? I know how to get in touch with you, but how do you get in touch with them?
Yes, we have that personal touch. Yeah, it's super easy. I'm all over LinkedIn. I write at least 3 times a week on LinkedIn. So there's always some sort of career article that I'm posting. I am also on Facebook. I have on my website a link for the appointments. And so someone can easily just set a free strategy session on my appointment page. And you can also reach out by email. It's totally free. I am super quick. I'm one of those folks that likes to write late at night. You might get emails from me at like 2 a.m. because that's when the world gets quiet and I have my Zen and my paradise island. But I'm super easy to get in touch with. And my services, I feel that if you're investing with me, you're really wanting that white glove service, and that's what I provide. So if you call me that same day, you're getting a call back. Sometimes it's pretty quick. And I kind of cater to whatever your schedule is because you know what? We all have a life. We all have things going on, and this job search is very stressful. So I want to make
Yes.
sure that it's as easy and painless as possible.
Yeah. It must be hard to keep track of all the clients. Is it hard to keep track of all the clients and all their needs? Like, is that something that is challenging to do?
I don't think so. I think I got a pretty good pulse on folks, and the way candidates come in, clients come in and they cycle in. Everybody's at a different stage, so it's easy enough to keep track. So if someone came in today, I might be just finishing up someone tomorrow. So it is almost like an ebb and flow. It really does cycle through very nicely, and so I try not to overload myself because it would do a disservice to the client. I think that it's better for them to have access to me than to say, by the way, if you sign up today, you can't get me until 2 weeks from now. That to me is, I would not want that. And I would not want anybody else to have to go through that. So I'm very accessible and I find it super easy. Everyone's got a great personality and they're always, when they come to me, they're always in a space where they're ready. They're ready for that transformation and I'm happy to help them through it.
It's like you're a hero. You are.
I don't
You're a
know about
hero in
that.
someone's story. Well, you might be. You never know for someone.
I'll be
So,
a BFF. That's
Joanna, I'm so happy that you came today, virtually, for the interview. But I think in the future it would be lovely to have you on again, to maybe do, something in depth with maybe, a practice, mock interview or expand on some of the services that you already do. But before you do leave, could you give us a tiny free tidbit of advice on doing a resume? Just something small for the audience that they could think about.
Sure, absolutely. I'll give you two. Number one, make sure you always have a title at the top of your resume. So you'll have your contact information at the top, and then the title is the title you are pursuing each time you apply for a position. That way, the hiring manager or recruiter knows exactly which job you're after. And my second tip would be make sure that you are spelling and grammar checking your documents. I cannot tell you how many people don't do this and their verb tense is all over the place. People will know exactly what's wrong with your capabilities just by looking at your document. And you want to give, it's always that first impression. And you want to make sure that if you at least do that, you would be super ahead of the curve in terms of being professional and ready for a new position.
Especially spelling. I know as a writing arts major, I have a thing with spelling. So, that I like it to be accurate, so I get it. Joanna, I'm so happy that you came here today with us virtually. We got some great advice from you. We know how to contact you now. Could we show the contact information one more time for Joanna? And this is her contact information. She's wonderful. She's very personal. She'll walk you through the process. She will sort of hold your hand. And you should get in touch with her if you need to spruce up your resume or you're looking to change your career field or you're just, looking for some skills, with interviewing. So I know that you're, going to be going on a cruise. So I wish you a great cruise and to relax and hopefully no one contacts you when you're on your cruise. But
I probably still answer them anyway. So
you will. I know you will. But I will be talking to you soon, and it's been a pleasure. I hope you have a wonderful trip. Thank you for coming on Gypsy Soul.
thanks for having me, Denise. I really appreciate it. Bye,
I
everyone.
hope-
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Don't forget to let your Gypsy Soul flow. To just let you guys know that she is very personal. I've spoken to her before. She really cares about people, and she will really make you think. She will really ask you questions that you're sometimes afraid to ask yourself. And these are the questions we need to ask ourselves. Look, we all have that gypsy soul or we're trying to get it. And sometimes we have to ask ourselves the hard questions because without asking ourselves the hard questions, we don't really always know what we're looking for. So they can put us on a different path or maybe on a better path than the one we're already on. I wanted to thank you guys for being such loyal followers, for sharing my show, for making my Gypsy Soul flourish, and for just giving me a reason to just be so happy every week. I love you guys. I'm so grateful for you. We have a lot of great shows coming up and some surprises along the way. Don't forget to check out some of the excellent sponsors that we have. We have Valerie from the Chocolate Spectrum. We have also, the Magic Touch detail service for cars. So we have great things going on in the background. And if you're looking to sponsor something, I would love to have you guys as a sponsor for my show to advertise you and to spotlight you and, to make some new friends. So consider it. Don't forget to let your Gypsy Soul shine. Remember that you come first before anyone else. And I will see you again for actually a bonus episode of Gypsy Soul, I believe on August 29th, with a very special guest. You guys have a great night, and I will see you soon. Don't forget to let your Gypsy Soul shine. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Gypsy Soul. Make sure to stop by next time for another enlightening show. A show that was produced by Ant Media Productions and hosted by Denise Marsh.